Let's
All right,
go.
live from Deal, New Jersey. We are back with another edition of the TABC Summer League Basketball Preview Show. I'm your host, Oren Glickman, alongside my wacky partner in crime. It's the always lovable Jack Turell.
Yes,
Jack,
yes.
happy hump day.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, a hump day indeed, a very Wednesday day. Excited for part 2 of the podcast. Just want to give a heads up. I'm in a combative mood. I had a crazy morning, so we're ready to go. I'm ready to go today. Let's get this.
Boy, we have a lot to unpack after
Hold
that
on, you
first
went out.
round.
You went out. We have a lot to talk about. I can read your lips. I can't hear you.
We have a lot to unpack, a lot of crazy upsets in this first round. A lot of teams still standing who we thought would have been gone by now. And it's just crazy. And we're actually going to have some guests, some of the captains of some of the teams we're still in, and talk about their upcoming playoff matchups. I'm sure there's going to be a back and forth between you and Captain Weinberger.
Yeah, sure.
So why don't we,
As
why
I
don't we
deserve it. A really incredible first round. Like a really, I don't know about in the history of the TBC League, and I've only been a member for the last 2 seasons, so I'd be short term to talk, but a really incredible, all but 3 games were really decided on small decisions, like really the margins of what determined victory or loss in most of these games, all but 3. Minuscule. I mean, incredible first round, and a lot of teams to give props to, a lot of teams that we owe apology, or I owe apologies to.
Yeah.
And I was really excited. I got a chance to watch every game, and I'm excited to talk about each of these teams and each of these games.
I think it already gave us an idea how crazy these playoffs are going to be with Exhibit A, the first game of the first round, our only overtime game, the Heat and the Grizzlies. And you actually give the Grizzlies some trash about not completing the job and getting it done.
So all right, I'll give you my breakdown on Heat versus Grizzlies. So if you remember last week, I had mentioned that the Heat had been tremendously underwhelming, and that they had struggled to find offense a lot on a team that has an assortment of offensive weapons. The chemistry looked weird. I said X, Y, and Z, and I said that the Grizzlies they were missing bigs. They would probably struggle to get rebounds, and the Grizzlies had the biggest upset potential. And I got a lot of flack, not a lot, but enough flack from some Heat players going like, I want to talk, I disagree. This is exactly what happened. I mean, first off, I want to preface this with Yoel Schreier. Yoel Schreier, if there's a Mensch Award or an Iron Man Award, I mean, he should win both of them. And this guy, he plays on a team.
He got first team honors this year.
Oh, for sure. And he could tremendously deserve it. He plays with so much heart. If there was, like Josh McRoberts, Tyler Hansbrough, he played in college, or even, dare I say, Charles Barkley-esque. I mean, he's a little shorter, but he's a power forward. He's big. He can pass. He could shoot. He could run the floor. Really impressed with this game, and really just goes hard. The Grizzlies don't have a true point guard. They don't have a ton of shooting, and they take a lot of mid-range twos and fadeaways, and he just goes after it and gets rebounds. But just to give a recap to the viewers, with 5 minutes left, and the Grizzlies were up 7, I believe, 6 or 7. And all they had to really do is, if it was me, I'm running 2 minutes off the clock every time I touch
no shot clock. You got to milk that clock as much as possible.
Shot clock. I get it. Run clock. Do not give Zevi Samet an opportunity to score. Teams out there, if you're up on the Heat in the game, the clock's running down, run clock. Now I get it. Ruining the integrity of the game. Okay, I'm with it. But you know what you could do? Run 30 seconds off the clock, then start your offense. What had happened, what the Grizzlies did, first off, the Heat had outplayed them the entire game. And then the Grizzlies, got real hot in a small stretch near the end of the game where Yoel Schreier just hit a bunch of mid-range, couple of putbacks, couple of and ones, and you blink and you're up 6, and having been outplayed the entire game, and now you have the game in hand. And what happened was, instead of running 30 seconds, and this is the problem with having a lack of a point guard or a floor general, as the Grizzlies had, they came down, ran 3 seconds off the clock, took a mid-range 2, miss, Zevi Samet gets it, switches a 3. They come back, 10 seconds off the clock, miss, Zevi Samet comes down, switches a 3. Now they're down 1, the Heat, and only a minute and a half has been ran off the clock. Well, while if they had if Isaac Laifer or Joe Klein or they had like or even Ami from the Nuggets, like I think if they had a real understanding of clock management, they just ran 30 seconds or even 20 seconds before they get into their offense. Right. There's 6 possessions, now when, maybe you're up, now there's 2 minutes left. Now maybe the Heat panic and have to foul you. Instead, they gave Zevi Samet opportunity after opportunity to take it. And then they went up 6 to Heat. And then the Heat handed it right back to the Grizzlies.
Yeah, I knew it was going to get to overtime. The Heat were going to win in overtime. They were not going to lose in overtime. And I'm sure the Grizzlies are still beating themselves up on that final draw, on that final play that they drew out of the timeout. It just wasn't an effective play. They should have had Schreier go ISO on that play.
Well, Rami Laifer is guarding Joel Schreier, and I get the idea of getting a tough physical point guard to guard a big man. I'm personally not a fan of it. Whenever I have a point guard on me and he's getting low and physical, I'm going to get lower, put my shoulder into his chest, and I just
it looked like Rami was selling a few flops, and we're actually going to talk to him about that later on.
Even so, and there was one possession where he flopped. Even so, the ref isn't going to call an offensive foul on a play like that. And if he does, you went to your best player in the post in the best position to score with the game on the line. Instead, they get I don't even remember the shot. It was like a long 2 or a difficult 3. It goes into overtime, and then he took care of business. Scott Levine did his thing. Again on the Heat, they're facing I guess we'll get to the Heat and the Timberwolves.
We'll get more into it later on in the show.
Yeah.
I guess we'll pivot to the next one. Our first guest is actually going to come on in about 6 minutes, so we'll do more of a lightning round. But we're going to talk about the Spurs win over the Sixers when Captain Weinberger shows up.
Yeah.
Both of you and I are getting a lot of heat about that. I said it was going to be the toughest game to call in the entire first round. I think I was confirmed right on account of that.
No, you're right. There were two really evenly matched teams at two different things. The Sixers wanted to get out and run. To give us credit, all right, we did say that in order for the Spurs to win the game, they'd have to slow it down. They'd have to play muscle ball. They'd have to run the offense, milk clock, not let the Sixers to get into a running match, and instead make this a grueling dogfight. That's exactly what they did. The final score was 39-41. Mm-hmm. They're moving the ball around. They're pounding it into Weinbergers and Lipner. They're crashing rebounds, ripping the ball, getting fouled. The Spurs are the smartest, they're one of the 3 smartest teams in the league, with us and the Lakers, in my opinion.
That's for age benefits.
And they just played an excellent game. They played an excellent game plan. They proved me completely wrong. Believe me, I heard it from my boys, the Weinbergers. And I just have.
And there'll be more of that tonight in the first of 4 quarterfinal matchups.
Yeah, no, listen, and they just took the Sixers out of their game plan. They just did not let them run, and I got to give them credit where credit is due.
Yeah, and then we had the 1-8 matchups that happened the other night. We talked about the Timberwolves being without their role players, and Captain Gotlieb is actually going to be on in a few minutes, so we'll discuss more at length. But it sounds to me like this team is more than capable, even without their role players. As long as you have the stars on that team, you're fine.
If you have the big 3 or even big 4 or even big 5, the T-Wolves are so stacked. They're so loaded. They have so much size. They have so much skill. They got so much athleticism. They haven't lost a game, and there's a reason for it. Like they have so many different ways they could beat you. Ori Schwartz, again, was a first teamer last year. Sky and Jaime Alexander is the MVP. Now you team up a first team point guard with an MVP big. Akiva Gotlieb, again, I said it last week and I'll say it again. He looks Mason Wedgel-esque. His length, his ability to drive, his ability to hit the mid-range. Joe Rosen is a great shooter. Like they have toughness, defense, rebounding, hustle, IQ. They have everything and they click on all cylinders. And then in terms of the matchup versus the Heat, they kind of have what the Heat don't have in terms of size and chemistry. So, I mean, we're going to talk about it when it gets to that. But the Timberwolves face the Pacers. I mean, they're just a better team. The Pacers don't have the right.
Even with the subs that the Pacers had at their disposal, didn't really. You
just knew that was going to be. To give credit to the Pacers, they made it a really slow game. They wanted to grind it out, and it worked for the first half. But at the end of the day, talent prevailed.
Yeah. We'll talk more about your big win over the Nuggets, I'm sure, when we discuss the preview with Captain Weinberger towards the end of the show. But quite a second half there.
No, so this is what I don't get. A lot of people have been saying the whole week, the Nuggets stink. The Nuggets stink. You're going to blow them out. They stink. They stink. They can't. I'm looking at the roster. Dan's a YU player. Yehuda Gutman is the most automatic 2 points in the entire league. He is the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in Shaq's body in the sense that if he touches it down low, if he gets the ball, if you are able to entry pass to him, he cannot be stopped. You have to foul him, and he's a great free throw shooter and a great three-point shooter. If he touches it, he's in. The only caveat with Yehuda Gutman is you have to play super slow and slow it down and pound it in and run the clock, spend 5 minutes getting it to him, because once that's advantageous because now you're taking the other team into a slow game. Slow game, you can't pound it in with Gutman there. He's too big. The problem with the Nuggets, and Gutman did his thing in the first half, and they were up too. The problem with the Nuggets, the problem with Dan's strategy is Ellie Gartenberg, a tremendously talented player and one of my favorite guys to play with, one of my most impressive guys that I have respect for to play against, is the best big man if you want to run. Right, he's the run and gun big man. He's the Amari Stoudemire. He's the Jared Allen. He wants to get out and run and go. And now you have these two different contrasting styles that you're playing first half, slowing it down, 27-29, really slow game, especially for us who like to run and score. And then and you're doing it. And then when you play both the bigs, like it just takes you out of what you want to kind of try to do when you have Gutman. That's one way of thinking it. Another way, they don't spend time. They stopped running. Either that's the case, and maybe I'm wrong, or the second case is that they just stopped milking clock to try to get the ball to Gutman. It just didn't do it because we had to throw 5 guys every time he touched it. If you didn't, he was going to score. And we sped him up. The biggest play of the game is we're up 9. Gutman gets it. He gets called for an offensive. So instead of laying it in, going up 2, we come down, hit a 3, we go up 12, we had another 15, and then that's all she wrote. Nuggets were good, but that was a really well fought game. I think if you take Gutman next season in the draft, just know, like, surround your team with shooting, always get shooting, but no, you're going to want to walk it up. You're going to want to play a really slow game. So they're a really good team. I have a lot of respect for them.
Yeah. Their problem was they ran into the Jack attack.
Yeah, Jack Reinhardt's a bad man. I mean, people don't know this. In every other league, like the Young Israel League, the carbon copy of this league, he was first team 2 years in a row. I mean, this guy, he's Sean Livingston with a jump shot. He's the
defender of the year for me.
Defensive player of the year. He's a great player, and I love playing with him. So much IQ.
Well, we're going to talk more about the Kings and the Raptors later on in the show. That generated a lot of controversy so to be continued there. Lakers, Hornets, pretty straightforward. I think we learned about my Lakers.
I got it. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I think we learned about my Lakers team is we're still a complete team even without Isaac Merwis.
Well, that's the quality of your captains. You have not only the best leader in the league in Isaac Merwitz, you might have the second best leader in the league in Johnny Nolan as well. And I got a lot of heat from the Lakers last week, giving, credit and Heidemann some key advantage points, making it seem like I believed 1 second that the Hornets would win. I did not. And I said that, and I made it very clear. And I guess I could even go further. And I don't know if I should say this, I'll probably get in trouble, but the Hornets were the worst constructed team perhaps in TABC history. I mean, if you have, not only do they have guys that won't shoot, they just didn't shoot. And when you have Stevie Paul, you have to surround him with just a lot of three-point shooting and spacing.
Yeah.
I mean, credit to Captain Heidemann for really busting his tuchus to fight hard, and credit to all of them. They're just overmatched. The Lakers are the most beautiful. They have the best leadership. They move the ball more beautifully than any other team. And Johnny Nolan is like, those old video games where you get like a charm where everyone's attributes raises up. He's like a 3-point charm. Whenever you have Nolan, for some reason, the team all just starts knocking down threes. The Lakers are really good. They're a force to be reckoned with.
It gives you like an extra power up in like a Super Mario video game. It's
something like that, right? Like I just take a look and every guy is just splashing threes. And it happened with me when I played with him in a 4-on-4. All of a sudden, my attributes went up. He has an infectious way with players on boosting their confidence.
Also, like our offense last night with like the extra pass, like just like the chemistry was just amazing. It was like poetry in motion, that offense last night.
The Lakers have an incredible leadership. They have an incredible foundation. They're all really tight, and they're going to be a team is going to be hard to beat.
Yeah. We're still waiting on Captain Gotlieb with the Timberwolves. Hopefully he'll be joining.
He's on. Should I bring him on?
Oh yeah, please do.
Did we get all of our games?
We'll discuss those last 2 games at the end of the show.
Which were the last 2?
Those 2 upsets. So they go together.
Oh, I really want to talk about them, but we'll get Gotlieb.
Yeah, we'll touch up on that after the guests.
One thing about Schmarz, you mentioned Sixers Spurs. I know he's a little late, but Sixers Spurs. You wanted to talk about Schmarz taking that jump. Basically the Spurs had a foul to give up to, and they were going to use it. And when they went to use it, Schmarz took a 3 and he missed it, so they didn't get a chance to foul. It was just it looked really bad.
It was badly. Yeah, it was badly constructed. I don't know what Shulman was thinking there, and he played a good game overall, but he's going to be remembered for that play. I
got to give credit where credit is due. It's very hard to time that. I probably wouldn't have taken the shot and just gotten fouled and tried it out, but I can't blame him for trying to go for the win there and get fouled. I would have probably just taken the 3 and hoping they mistaken it, but you can't blame them. All right, let's bring on our guest. Our first guest.
Give me some sharing access so I can put on my playoff preview.
Oh yeah, how do I do that again? More
make me a co-host. Yeah.
All right, awesome.
All right.
Oh, we got him.
All right. I think we got him. Just needs to put on
What's
the camera. Up? All right. We are here with Akiva Gotlieb, captain of the number 1 seeded and undefeated Timberwolves. Akiva, welcome to the preview show.
Who we call Mason the second. Akiva's I like this game a lot.
I took note to that comment in the first show. I'm still deciding whether I consider that a compliment or not. I've been playing with Mason for years, but obviously having a great year. So I'll take it as a compliment for now. But he's great. But Oren, I don't like that you're starting off with telling me that we're the 1 seed undefeated captains, but we get no love in the preview.
What did you want us to say?
We just talked about how Hami Alexander and Ori Schwartz are like the best combo since Kobe and Shaq.
We're predicted to lose.
First off, Akiva, I picked you to win to basis.
Okay, so let's talk about this. I have it on screen. Guys, we're all adults here. Okay, let's talk about this. Okay, I got it on the screen right here. Okay, I really think that you can win, and the only thing is, I look like a hypocrite because we filled out brackets right before the playoffs started.
Sure.
Okay,
sure.
I had that key pick. All right, knowing like Charlie Benheim, Rami Pinchot are out, teams are going to go with who they have full strength. But now there's a game changer because I'm hearing that you and Captain Laifer struck a deal. So tell the viewers a little bit more about that.
Sure. No, it's a good question, and I'll caveat it. First of all, I was kind of kidding. I think that of course we can lose, and we'll talk about it. We're playing against the unanimous best player in the league, who I actually only saw for the first time play via the Instagram, which I love. Appreciate that, guys, and Oren, the effort there. It was the first time I saw Zevi Samet play ever. I never saw him play in person, so I think that's why I'm excited for tonight. But of course, anybody could lose in this league. Most teams, I would say like 70% are just teams that could win on any given night. So you got to respect that. So 100%, of course, we could lose. I was just surprised that we were predicted to lose, which is fine. But to get into a little bit of the background of the chat between Rami and I, because it's a good question, good for the viewers, good for the fans, is that, and to quote Ori Schwartz, we're gamers. The Timberwolves are gamers. We want to play. We want to beat the best. We're not like inviting them to bring in, like a player better than Scott, just to be frank, but we wanted it to be fair. Rami was talking about size and just replacing Scott's presence. And it's interesting. We're talking about Scott, not Jack, right. Scott. We gave him a sub for Scott because we want to play and we want to have a good game. And he was looking for size and shooting, really like a replacement for Scott for their style of play. And I played with Mark a few times, and I think that's like a really good comp. It's rare that you get such a good comp. I think it's a really good one with a step up to Scott, but I think I talked about it with Rami, and we're okay with this scenario playing out, and he was really respectful about it. He could hit 6 threes. I lost last year to a sub, Gaby Barrett sub for J Shap, when I played against Isaac Merwis, and we lost to Gaby Barrett's. We contained Isaac Merwis, and Gaby had like 5 or 6 threes, and we lost
What
to a
team
sub.
were you
Like
on?
I was on Merwis's team. No, sorry, Jordan Hode's team last year.
Pink. Okay, got it.
And that
Yeah,
team was a
Pink.
disappointment. Oh, how the tables have turned
For
with your
sure.
team for the last few years.
For sure. But that's the thought behind it. We're just gamers. We want to play. We want everyone to be happy. And we're confident we could win anyway.
Akiva, I think it's safe to say that you'll be drawing the tough assignment of guarding Zevi Samet tonight.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. Like, we have a group chat, which is what I love about our team. We're talking strategy all the time. Some more than others, but like a bunch of guys. And part of my draft strategy was just players who are really into it, take it seriously, as opposed to last year, myself included, just didn't give the league enough respect in terms of like efforts and being in shape, whatever. And I'm taking it really seriously this year. Obviously, you can't do it. You can't half-ass it. Sorry, PG, for the viewers, but you can't. And like also coming off of COVID last year, I didn't play ball for 2 years, literally. And then I just came in to do that. Yeah, so it was a bad year, and this year we just took it really seriously. We picked players who really care, and we're strategizing. Like we've got we were all over the place the past couple of days talking about how to prepare for Zevi. But yeah, technically I'm guarding him. But we have a flurry of ideas. I don't think that's like a secret. Everybody's got a plan that way when you play a player like that.
Yeah,
I think the T-Wolves go ahead, Oren.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jack.
No, I think the T-Wolves are probably going to throw. It's not going to just be Akiva. I don't think any team is going to leave any defender in the sleeve on an island for players Zevi's caliber. I think personally, and you don't have to answer, I think the T-Wolves are going to throw a plethora of options at them. They with the Heat are missing with Scott and Jack. I know they got Mark, but you got to worry about Mark shooting and Rami shooting. But they're going to have, once Zevi gets, if and when whatever gets by Akiva, they're going to have other guys to go there. They're going to throw guys who will muscle with him. They're going to bump him. If he comes through the leg, Hammy's giving him the check, or he's giving him the check if he's trying to cut through. They're going to make it really physical for him. I think I don't know if it's time to make our picks and what the other team needs to do. I mean,
my pick is right here, front and center.
I'm picking the Timberwolves, and here's why. I think the same reason they had a lot of trouble with Yoel Schreier and not a lot much else. And Hammy Alexander is
it's good logic. If you're having trouble with Schreier, you'll most likely have trouble with Alexander.
Right. If to use a Pokemon analogy, if Yoel Schreier is the Charmeleon, I mean, Hammy Alexander is the Charizard. He's the next evolved form. Like, he's just bigger, stronger. And then they have a great point guard, the T-Wolves, and they have great shooters and great decision makers. And the one problem I kind of really see with the Heat, they really don't get Zevi Samet easy shots. He has to work for every single one of his shots, no matter the opponent, whether it's the Pacers or the Hornets. Like, I'd love to see more. This is a guy that only needs an inch to hit a shot, any shot, just an inch. I just would like to see Rami bring it down, and Scott or Mark or David Samet or whoever your widest player on the court is, set a down screen and have Zevi cut out. Like, how about a pin down? How about a flare? How about a curl? Just give him, and he only needs an inch and he'll take 9. And it's very interesting to see that they struggle often to give him that inch. But
Akiva, I actually want to ask you a question. Hami Alexander, I believe, was picked in the 3rd round. You and Hami were actually classmates at MTA. I believe he was a year above you. Do I have that right?
Absolutely. Yep.
Do you feel like you knew something about Hami that other captains didn't know about him?
It's funny, like, insight into the draft day, which was closed doors, but I drafted Ori 2nd overall. So early on, and we were just speaking about it, I anticipated aiming for Ori beforehand, more structurally. Like, I mean, he's an amazing player. I don't think he's the 2nd best player in the league. I think that's a fact, but really just strategically, teammate wise, when he was available on the board, like, we were cracking up, just being like, I cannot believe he's still here. We were mapping for, just different caliber players for the 3rd round. Fortunate draft structure where, like, I got we got Hami by a gift. And again, on the day of the draft, I asked Jay Shep, I'm like, I went to high school with Hami. I know how he plays. Haven't seen him play in a few years. I'm like, did something happen to him physically? Did he lose an arm or a leg that there's for some reason that the kid is still on the draft board? Because as long as he has all 4 limbs, like 2 arms and 2 legs, he's a first rounder. So that's why it was interesting. It was super interesting, and we were just like cracking up that he was still available. So like obviously we swooped him up, and then I had a super fortunate 4th and 5th round pick, basically back to back, where I think we really capitalized as well. But the most obvious one being the MVP in the 3rd round for sure.
The Pacers and the Hornets died for the T-Wolves sins. That's basically what happened. You got Akiva Gotlieb.
You said last week the craziest thing Donnie Kalimnik could have had, Mason at 1, even Michigan at 2, and then Hami at 3.
Yeah, and then you hand him
Maybe he's fine with his team now because they just beat Michigan last night.
They look really good. I have a lot to say about that Thunder team. I'm very impressed. When we get to it, I'm saving it. But
we'll get to it. We'll get to it.
That's the league we're in. Yeah, I mean,
Akiva, is there still hope with the deep Timberwolves run that Benheim and Pinchot will be back?
No, they're out indefinitely for the remainder of the playoffs. Charlie's was a little bit more like we knew about. I didn't know before the draft, so naughty on him. But I knew about it a little bit into the season. Rami was just sporadic.
I
mean, so
I would
before the draft, Charlie is like I love Rami was amazing, but Charlie is essential. I played with Charlie. I knew Charlie growing up. Like he was like a small kid, and then hadn't seen him for a bunch of years. I went to Israel, Kobe, whatever, like 5-year gap. I haven't seen the kid. I saw him a little bit on YU broadcasting for YU Max. And then I played ball with him one random Motzei Shabbos, and he's so long. He could do more, by the way. Like you guys are seeing him as a role player, defensively essential for us, size-wise. He's made, I think, 3 or 4 MVP season-changing defensive stops, like at the end of certain games that could have gone either way. That's besides the point. But he's actually better offensively than he's shown. And I said from that moment, I'm like, oh, TABC Summer League, I'm drafting this kid. Nobody knows who he is, or at least the level that he is. And I'll even give myself a little bit more credit. I snuck him in the 5th round when he really could have went 4th round. But I knew that other people know more about Joe Rosen, who's also been amazing for us. And he would likely be picked. So I held off on Charlie and I picked Joe, and just so I knew I could get both in that way. So like I schooled Kalimnik on that one. So that was a funny moment.
Kalimnik and everyone else.
You've had big moments. You've had moments where you have actually taken yourself out of the game and then played Charlie instead.
I mean that's like that's a matchup thing. That's a matchup thing for sure.
Listen, Charlie's great.
Charlie Benheim and Isaac Held were 2 dark horse picks for me in this draft. So I would have loved to have seen them go up against each other.
Isaac's very good. I don't think he was mentioned before, or when Jackie were talking about like their threats. I think Held is their purest open shooter. Absolutely, factually. Rami Laifer also. He'll hit his open threes for sure. But Isaac Held is excellent. I've known Isaac for a long time. Great shooter.
What's your game plan? That's what we all want to hear. What's the game plan for the T-Wolves?
It's really like it obviously starts off with like a huge emphasis on Zevi, which comes with again a plethora of different defensive schemes that we're planning on throwing at him. But one thing is that we've adapted very well throughout the year. Like we've had games where we've had swings where we're down. But I think Oren, who's watched all of our games, like I don't think there's been a 4-minute stretch where we continuously looked, baffled on defense. We just figured out we just have the bodies and the defensive skill and talent to do that. But as for the rest of the team, I mean, just no easy looks. Like what can you say? He's a super talented superstar. And by the way, I saw him make some crazy cross-court passes. Like that's college level. Yeah, that's college level skill that most people in the league don't have. Mason, phenomenal player. If he's driving to the rim and he's taking the attention of 2 players, he's not a left hook pass across court to the open
Mason's not
shooter. Like,
Zevi. I agree with you.
that's my point. So
Yeah.
he's unique.
No one is.
He's unique in that regard. I didn't see a player who's able to do that. I'm really happy I played against JJ last week, who is excellent. JJ Zakheim is excellent. I thought that was a good practice.
He's a
for
dog.
me, but you got to be aware
Yeah.
of the vision of the
That's
skills
actually
of
a fair
Samet.
comparison. Yeah, he and Zevi handle the ball very similarly.
Zevi's better and taller.
No,
For
absolutely,
sure,
but
for sure.
he could be a step
Also
up, for
shooting
sure.
wise.
Yeah, better
Yeah, I
shooter.
mean,
They
both can
JJ
get a
Zakheim's
shot
a
off.
bad dog. He's a really good
No,
player.
but they're both two types of players that will keep you on your toes.
Yeah, you got to worry
Yes,
about both.
absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
and by the way, so to your question, what we're trying to do is huge emphasis on Zevi, but just we have the length and the adrenaline or the energy to contest those open looks, and I haven't seen the Heat kick it to the inside ever. So we didn't plan for that. If they beat us that way, then we adapt, and we're just pressuring them to do what they've done successfully, but against a team like us. So we just think that we're ready for that, for their typical offensive strategy. We can compete with that.
T-Wolves are good, man. They're a good bleeping team. Look out. You better come with a game plan, a diet of each of their players, their tendencies, the kind of movies they watch. You better know the T-Wolves when you come to play them. You better have a scout. We got Rami in the waiting room, Oren. How do you want to do this?
Is Evan Chesner up? Yeah,
You want to face him?
Just quick question: is Evan Chesner privy to the WhatsApp group now?
Oh, he's actually not, but Joe's managing him. Joe's our commissioner, our engine, our energy off court. He's been speaking to Evan, but he's a gamer too. He just
gonna want to hold. We're gonna want to hold all your thoughts now.
Rami.
All right, checking in is Rami Laifer, the captain of the Heat, who will be going toe to toe
this morning.
He looks super handsome.
I gotta get a fresh cup for this game.
Oh.
All right.
Rami,
we're gonna give you
for this preview.
Rami, I always thought Isaac was the handsome brother, but I see this fresh Rami. Maybe Rami's the handsome
Rami, we're going to give you the spotlight alone, but do you have any words for your
Come at me. He said he had some doubts. I want to hear it, baby.
First
Where
off,
was I wrong?
First off, I got to give credit to you guys. Oren, great job on running the league. And Jack, you guys are doing a great job on the hopefully soon-to-be podcast, but the videos. I did text Jack after last video saying that he was totally off on his predictions. He did want to change to the Grizzlies, but he was totally right on how the game played out. It was definitely a tight one. He stuck with the Heat, but he wanted to switch.
I said it was
picked the Grizzlies before
go either way, but the Heat will pull away.
Yeah, unfortunately, I couldn't get the Ari Mitnick news app before the brackets locked.
Oh, I would have taken that.
You gotta live with.
Don't bring up the Raptors. Don't bring up the Raptors.
Wait, is
You
Isaac
just brought up
coming
the
on?
Raptors.
Did we hear about
Just
your?
brought him up.
Is Isaac coming in? If a team
Yeah, I'll
needs a
message
villain,
him now.
the league unanimously agrees that the Raptors are the villains in the league right now.
Well,
I mean,
got a lot
hated.
of- Yeah, go ahead.
We hated Canada already, but now we hate them even more.
That's my
Wait, can I
boys.
bring up another funny point about this league, which is besides that everyone hates the Raptors right now for the
please.
first round. I think everybody thinks their team is the best. Genuinely 1 through 8, besides for the Pacers. I would say if you called Dan playoff before his playoff game last week, he'd say the Nuggets are the best team in the league. And I appreciate that, by the way. I just think it's funny. I've spoken to a lot of captains, whenever, and Joe Klein works in my office. He's on the Raptors. Ethan Freilich works in my office. He's on the Sixers. Everyone is really confident in their team. And I just think that that's hilarious. There's really bold, sometimes
Well, everyone's wrong.
non-logical.
There's really, everyone's wrong. Obviously the T-Wolves with the unbeaten record, you got to watch out for them. I'm going to fall into the stereotype that you said, because I personally think the Hawks are the best team. And I'm sure Oren thinks the Lakers are the best team. But there's really 4 teams that you could really go realistically, because the Bucks just got hit, right? The Bucks got knocked out. So really,
Yeah. We'll talk about that later.
4 teams, but 4 teams with the Thunder and the Heat on the outskirts because of individual talent. You just, again, on any, and whenever we played the Thunder and Mason had 20 in the first half on me personally, complete schoolage. But we still beat them handedly. Like it's more than a one type player thing, which is why I think giving Rami the subs was really gracious of me, and it'll be a fair
You're
game.
a gracious guy.
And we'll see how it plays out tonight.
He's a good
8
friend.
o'clock. You're not going to want to miss it.
Oren, how do we want to do this? We got Isaac Laifer on it. So do we want to talk about Heat T-Wolves? We still got Akiva on, or do we want to pivot to
He wants to kick
Raptors
me out.
Kings?
Not kick you out. Just thank you for your time. We really appreciate you coming on.
That's fine.
All right.
That's
Timberwolves
fine.
chasing perfection. 8 o'clock
Akiva.
tonight, folks.
He came in hot,
Stream
baby.
live on
Akiva came in
Dude.
hot today.
I
I'll
love
have to watch-
podcasts.
I'll
I
have to
watch
watch
all
it.
the player podcasts.
We got to
Yeah,
call
watch this
Akiva.
after.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you should watch this after, Rami, to hear a little bit about the strategy that we have for you guys. It's all fixated about your one player. You're irrelevant. The rest of the guys are irrelevant. We're just focused on Zevi.
There we go.
We're excited to face off later on.
Yeah.
Peace, guys. I gotta hop off. Oren's giving me the winky eye on the outside. See you.
Akiva. Yo, he came in hot. We should call him Akiva Nick Wright Gotlieb. He came in hot with fakes. He was ready to go. He came prepared today. He came to the
Yeah,
All right.
I can say before Isaac comes in right now, before we get onto the Raptors controversy and whatnot, just in terms of, I don't know how you want to take it with the Heat Timberwolves, if you wanted my aspect on what we needed to game.
Yeah,
but
go ahead. We want to hear.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I think we tried to get the game switched to Thursday.
I always say
Like,
2 Lakers are better than 1.
No, he's fine. I want to hear what Rami's got. What we got?
yeah, what I got was I tried to get my game switched till Thursday at night. Had a few guys that it was better for my schedule and theirs to move it. That also would have afforded us to also have Scott play. I'm appreciative that they're letting me have Mark, but obviously missing Scott is a huge part of our team, and playing together with someone new for the first time is already an issue where we haven't had a lot of guys for pretty much the entire season, losing Jack and just everyone's schedules. We barely had a full game. So I think last game really came together. It was good that we actually had a test like Jack predicted, and I think that would have been great to continue that. But unfortunately, the other team, the T-Wolves, couldn't have moved the game. So they're talking a big game, but they weren't really willing to face us at full strength. So I'll put that out there.
Claw them chickens.
And I think he's the game. I mean, look, we got to make sure that Zevi touches the ball every possession. The key to our team is we play good initial defense. Obviously, we're a little undersized without Jack, so everyone's got to rebound 5 guys to the ball. And I think if we just get every possession, not that Zevi has to shoot the ball in every single possession, but I think that the key is making sure that he at least touch the ball to create for others is really when the other guys on our team start to find the rhythm. When we just do one pass and shot, we're easily beat. If we can move the ball, I would like our chances against the Timberwolves. Not predicting an upset or anything like that, but I like our chances if we play our game, rebound, and move the ball. That's what I think our keys are. And obviously letting Zevi do his thing with him taking the right shots. If he comes down one-on-one, pulling up from 3 without any passes, that's also not the way we're going to win. We need to moving the ball, getting him the right shots. I think that's our best chance of pulling off the upset.
I think you're right. I think Zevi Samet has a lot of what they call the Steph Curry factor, so that when he's in the game and he has the ball or wherever he is, he draws the defense. Everyone has eyes on him. And I think too many times.
I think you also.
You
also have to keep David off in check. He's a technical foul waiting to happen.
Yeah, whatever it is. I think Zevi Samet too many times he plays more like Trae Young in this league specifically, where he's like, all right, I'm the most talented guy. I'm gonna take these shots. And I think really key for you guys' success is he should be playing a lot like Steph Curry, where it's like my success, my team's. Let's do a lot of off-ball action. Let's have me running off screens sometimes. Sometimes I give it up, sometimes give and go.
For sure.
And he's such a superstar and such a great player. Even when he's not on the ball, everyone's watching him. And I think that's an availability that they could take advantage of.
Yeah, I think like you said, I think you hit it right on the nail. I think it's just really a matter of him moving without the ball, but also trusting the teammates. I think a big part of it was that he didn't trust us early on, rightfully so, that we're going to hit our shots and whatnot. But even more so than him just passing the ball, if he's able to move and take away the attention without having the ball running off picks, he's going to get easier shots that way. So yes, of course, he could take anyone one-on-one, but when he has his feet set coming off the screen, it's pretty automatic. So those are the type of shots that we want to get him.
So I'm going to go real quick. My whole thing is, I'm sorry, Oren, I didn't mean to cut you off. I want to pick who I think will win, but what the team that is like my perceived underdog needs to do to win. And
go ahead. We have my pick out there already. So.
I did pick the T-Wolves. I think, again, what the Heat have to do is just, utilize the fact that Zevi has the Curry factor to draw out the Heat defenses, have them focusing on them. They could beat him with other guys and just get him easy shots. Set some pin downs, set some screens, set some flares, get some off-ball action with him, get some on-ball action in him. Exactly like Rami said, I really think if the Heat move the ball around, they're not going to spend 30 seconds getting a shot. They're a very fast-paced team, but even if they spend 10 seconds, 1 or 2 times down, they become less predictable offensively. Like if Zevi just comes down and does his thing, they're predictable. I know what they're going to do. I know who I have to guard. They move the ball, even if it's just for show. And it's going back to Zevi, but he's running and he's moving and he's coming off a thing. And if he has an inch, he's going to take 9. So you have the most talent in this league on paper, the most talent. It's unquestionable. So you really can't deny it. This has the potential to be a really great matchup. And you got to
look, for me, it was just a matter of one team is chasing perfection, and I'm very superstitious ever since the Gonzaga season. I just think it's going to catch up to them eventually. And the playoffs are all about your star performers delivering. And Zevi Samet's a star. It's undisputed. And he's going to go off. And I think it'll happen tonight.
Are you going to go Hammy? Alexander, Rami?
Myself?
Yeah.
We gotta.
He's the key. You got to keep him off the glass.
Yeah.
How are you going to slow him down?
I think very similar to what we did last game with Yo. Of course, he's against our team without Jack and Scott having both of them in the game. Our size is really hit hard. So I think the key is making it as hard as possible, like we did on Yo. Of course, they're still going to get their points against our team. We're not the best defensive team, but I think the key is really just controlling the glass as much as we can, because we're probably going to be down 10 on the possessions. But as long as we can keep it to that, not giving up more than 5 to 7 offensive rebounds in the game, that's really the key for us, because I like our chances if we give ourselves enough possession to be able to score. So that's the kind of team that we got to roll with. With Hami, I'm not necessarily so focused on this initial shot. I think it's really the crashing the defensive boards. If we rebound this game, I like our chances. If we end up getting killed on the boards, like what happened in Stretch's last game, it's going to be a tough night for us.
That's beautiful.
We have yet to introduce Isaac Laifer. I want to give Isaac a ton of credit for coming on the show. It's to address, should we call it Raptors Gate?
Raptors Gate, baby. I don't know if I want to call it a gate, but it was definitely a move by Justin to go, I want to win this game. I'm not messing around here. I want to win. And I know this won't even be a game, but I want to win. Like, I got to hear what Isaac's got to say. Isaac, give us the unadulterated, unfiltered, uncut. You're on the pod, baby. Bring this fastball. What is going through your head?
All right. I'm going to start off by listing off 3 names that I think the league is very familiar with. Mark Shapiro, Goffeld, and JJ Zackheim. Subs are a factor in this league. People allow it. We didn't get subs. It's as simple as that. We lost.
Yeah.
Look, injuries are part of the game. It was an unfortunate situation. Can you confirm nor deny? I was told that this procedure, the Ari Mitnick could have waited till after the playoffs. Is there any truth to that?
I don't know. You had to get surgery.
Look, it's a TBC. We're talking still about a summer league. If the guy's in pain with the procedure, he's gonna get the procedure.
What's the point?
I was told he had a surgery scheduled for a while, so it wasn't really so movable. But yeah, I mean, the reality is Justin went by the book. The technical rule is you can't get subs, so props to him for doing that. He wanted to win. I guess this league is important. It's that important, as we see here. It's actually a very competitive league.
It is
that people care about. So
it is.
Yeah, he has every right to go by the book, but for that, it's unfortunate because I just know that there's a lot of other captains that would have been okay with getting subs. I know that there was several captains that have asked me throughout the season to get subs, and I was always fine with people getting subs. I didn't care. I just trying to play some competitive ball. But yeah, just the reality of it stinks. I'd love to play. I think it's every team, not every team, everyone that was picking the bracket, whatever, had us winning the championship or making
a lot of people. You were an overwhelming favorite, especially from last week. 2 out of 3 guys had you. If it wasn't their team, it was you guys. You guys had a really You were number 1 seed in the barroom brawl team. Like if a fight broke out, I don't want any part of this team at all. No part of
100%,
Isaac, Moskovich, Mitnick, Turner, no part. And your one weakness, and I had said it, was the shooting, right? And you only had Turner could really knock down. You're a good shooter, but I wouldn't consider you like, a knockdown, like give him an inch. Like I consider you a guy who could hit threes like myself, but not like a give an inch, take 9, Zevi Samet, Isaac Gore, and Ari Mitnick's the star. And having all of that, missing your 2 best shooters and really having just a cheat code where they could sit in a 2-3 and not let Moskovich touch it and win. You guys outplayed them. Like they really struggled, and I was really underwhelmed. And I love the Raptors. They're my guys, and I'm the one guy that still love them. They're all my brothers, former teammates, my team last year. You outplayed.
Yeah, it's nothing personal. It's nothing. I think it's also
none of this
just
is personal. This is strictly our point is to be opinionated.
Even with the guys Isaac had out there, it looked like during certain points in the game, I was like, this could really happen.
No,
they could really win this game.
You outplayed them. You had them playing at your pace. They were moving. They took 2 minutes, it felt like, each time to try to get a shot. They got no easy shots. They could just sit in the 2-3, and at a certain point, it's 36-39 in the fourth quarter. And it's anybody's ball game. And at the end of the day, Benny Tuckman hits a 3 and goes up 6. And with that kind of game, 6 is a huge difference. 1 second, that's my wife. Got to let her in.
I think
it's a huge difference. At the end of the day, I thought you guys outplayed them and played a really great game, and you got to pat yourselves on the back on a job well done.
I think also just I'll let it go, and then you guys can put me off whenever. I think also that the key aspect is like it's also the entire rap team. I dealt with them early in the year. I wanted to get us up. I think that like just from the standpoint of like I understand that people play with 5. It's frustrating for them and whatnot, but like at the end of the day, you want to win this league playing the best teams in the best competition. Otherwise, I'm not really sure why you signed up. So like that's just the aspect that I'm not understanding from the entire Raptors team. It's just like you want to play the best teams. Like I'm not here to cheat and get into the round. Any team wants a sub, that's fair for me. You could talk it through, but I'm gonna end up wanting you to play the best guys you have. So I think I also have a case of that with Timberwolves letting me have a sub. I'm letting them get Evan Chesner, but I would have loved to switch the game till Thursday, go full squad. So that's all I'm saying. Let's play the best teams.
Rami, not everyone's like you. Some people, and me myself included, so I can't talk crap because I don't know what decision I'd make in Justin's position. I might be kind of tough. Some people, and most people, it's about winning, right? And
winning, but you want to win against the best teams.
Yeah, no, I hear you. And I also think your situation is a little different than Isaac's in the sense that both teams are getting a sub. And Isaac's team, Justin's team's fully healthy. Isaac's team's missing 2 guys and their 2 best shooters and 2 of their scorers. I got to say, the Kings, we're talking about now Raptors here, and they're going to the next round on Thunder. I don't know if you want to go on that now. Maybe we'll save it for later. I'll say a little tidbit, and maybe no one wants to give Raptors any love. They were underwhelming offensively, and maybe I think they're a defensive team, the Raptors. You think any team with Justin Hode is an offensive team? And maybe I'm going off
Which
point.
is a wild theory, but could be true because when you look at their team, like this is all offense. But
I mean, they're losing by 20 points with the Kings on full team.
Yeah,
there's not.
I hear it.
I like all the guys on the team, but they had no shot in that game with that full strength.
If you're the Thunder, you're kissing your mezuzahs that you're not playing the Kings fully strength in the second round. You really think you have a better chance. And Isaac, I got to give you props as a leader and as a point guard. One of my favorite players to watch, play against, and see. And if he was in town, I'd love for him to play with me in Zion. He always has his guys running the game the right way. So I got to give you a lot of props. You guys had a tremendous season and obviously got bad luck coming on, but you guys had a great game plan and really outplayed them, but just lost because you just didn't have the shooting. You could sit in a 2-3 and prevent Moskovich from touching, and you're missing your 2 best shooters to space it out and they could pack it in. It's tough. And you almost beat them.
Yeah. I mean, first of all, thank you. I really appreciate that. But also they had a strategy that was built for the team that we had that night. They knew exactly what they were getting. I spoke to a few kids on their team. It was an overall, like Justin was saying, an overwhelming majority of his players didn't want subs. So it wasn't just like the captain's choice. I don't want to pin it just on Justin, but I mean, it was a collective team decision to not allow the other team to get subs. And yeah, I mean, if they want to win by playing against a, I guess, reduced team.
Jack, you coach 7th grade, right? Y and J. Can you get them suited up?
Akiva Jacoby, man, he would have hit some threes for y'all. He's a good player.
So
Well, as you can see here, I have the Thunder keeping up that Cinderella run. I think they'll go in prepared against that Raptors team. The Raptors are the most hated team in the league right now.
That's a bold pick. So
they're gonna win. I don't know. We'll talk about it when we get to it.
We beat the Thunder by like 20. I don't even know. It wasn't. I mean, they're also missing.
I got to be honest. Last night confirmed for me a theory that I believed all along that Jack argued with me on. The Western Conference is a stronger conference than the East.
He's right. I was ready to come on here and bash him and go like, oh, East is the beast, West is all fraud. But you look at it, the West won most of the games, other than
3
us.
for 3 last night. 3 for 3.
Who else won in the East? Just us, right? Oh, and the Heat. And the Heat.
Three teams left.
And you almost lost. You almost lost.
2.5 because the Raptors won on a technicality.
And the Raptors won. Oh, so it's even.
2.5.
Even. Yeah, technically it's even. I'll tell you something.
Kings and Hawks in my picks are the 2 best teams. So I think, Isaac, you were in the West?
I was in.
He was in the opposite end of the bracket. We would have met in the finals.
But
theoretically. What
I will say is that the matchup between the Raptors and Mason's team, I don't know what Mason's team name is, but they upset the Bucks last night.
They had 5 guys the entire time, and I think it benefited.
I'll tell you how. But
listen, that matchup is going to be irrelevant because whoever both teams are not going to like it, but whoever wins that game is getting smacked by the
Lakers.
Yeah.
We played them.
I mean, I'm happy that Justin's team got a win and they get to play another game, but like, it's an unfortunate for the league because you guys are missing your best team now, and I think whoever wins there's gonna be a little bit of an asterisk. That's all I'm gonna say.
Well, the T-Wolves did beat you in the season, so if the T-Wolves do win, they get to say that they did beat you. I'm just saying.
The T-Wolves and the Lakers, 100%. They definitely beat us fair and square. But yeah, I mean, we didn't get to perform in the playoffs, and that's not because of anyone else's decision. We were missing players. It's on us. Our team should have been full. I wish we were full strength. We can't really control that, but yeah, I just would love to be competing against the best teams at the highest level at the best time of the season. But now you guys are going to be playing against the Raptors potentially, so enjoy that.
Yeah, no, listen,
I'm going to tell you. Should we talk? Go ahead, Oren. I'm sorry.
I was just going to say we want the playoffs to have the best teams left, and I'm a commissioner, but I'm still going to say this: it feels like an injustice.
The Bucks lost. That specific thing is injustice, and I hear it, but I hear the other side too, right? I had a similar situation in the Young Israel League, but we only had 5 guys, and they only had 5 guys. And they said, "Oh, let's both brace up."
I'm admitting in our last guest. I think
let's roll it out. Like if I'm in Rami's situation, like I have injured guys, you have injured guys. I think you have more leeway to say no because it's like let's roll it out. But in the situation with Isaac,
this is what I would say. This would be my plea to the league. Going forward, we should have right now. All the captains are kind of engaged in the league right now, and people care about it. I think there should be a meeting with Oren and with the Bash brothers and the Levies, and we should have all the captains go on, and there should be a definitive rule for subbing and
for injuries.
Injuries.
Not I have a work meeting. Not my wife has a birthday.
Obviously not that. No, like on a serious note, we should have a meeting so that there is none of these like, oh, but he said this, he said that, and people kind of undermining others. It should be a definitive rule that everyone agrees on. So that way, when we come to these playoffs where games actually matter and people care, there's no like Godfeld's playing for Rav Weinberger, JJ's playing for whoever.
Oh,
Rami's getting this guy.
It's in the meeting now.
They're still in the playoffs, and now my team's kind of like, oh, but the captain I was playing against said no. So like, it would just be nice that if we were all in the same like kind of one united mindset, then the playoffs worked in a fair manner, so that way everyone had an equal opportunity. Because I think that at the end of the day, we all agree we want that. So I think this would be the time if the Levies watch this, or if you could get all the captains involved, maybe before the championship game when everyone's still engaged, to create that meeting. So yeah, I think that'd be helpful.
Yeah. I love town hall, so I'm gonna make that happen. Isaac, Rami, we really appreciate you guys coming on.
Thank you guys.
Thank you so much. Rami will be in action. I'm sure his brother Isaac will be cheering him on. It's an 8:00 tip. Heat Timberwolves. It'll be streamed live on Instagram.
9 o'clock.
9 o'clock. Oh, I got the time.
9:15.
Send it to everyone and send it to everyone
I already got
who needs to watch.
I already got to
Zevi
update this
Samet.
preview now.
That's right.
Yeah, I already got to update this preview. All right, thanks guys. We
Oren,
appreciate
Love
it.
it. Rob,
Oren,
enjoy.
thanks, Jack. Keep it up, guys.
Thank you.
You want to introduce? You have the clip.
All right.
You have
And
the
now,
clip, Oren. You
our
want to
last
play
guest
it?
to the show, a man who needs no introduction, but I'm going to give it to him anyway.
You
It is
gotta give him the
Rabbi
clip.
Captain. It's a lot of titles. Rabbi Captain Yosef Weinberger. Rabbi Captain, thanks so much for coming on the show.
Thanks
Hold
for having
on.
me.
He requested the clip be played. I have it for you.
Yeah,
I'm doing
All right.
it for you.
we want
Yeah,
the clip.
go. I'll stop sharing my screen. Jack, you share yours.
Oh yeah. I'll just play it so you can hear it. This is where, when you're in this business of ours. They don't have Alex Collison. They don't have a chance. That's I think that's my take. I might get a lot of flack from my boys, the Weinbergers and Lippner. They're going to be upset with me, but
I think they win even if Alex Collison were to play.
I think
Ice cold
Kelson,
takes.
because it just gives you another weapon and a point guard to move the
I don't know.
ball.
I mean, wouldn't you agree? Wouldn't you guys agree with this? The Sixers.
Ice cold takes. We gotta put that on the Twitter
Okay.
page.
Rabbi, after hearing that recording and now seeing where you are now, how does it feel?
I mean, we played that on our chat right away, and we were very confident after that. I would say we're very confident after reading your no chance for me as well. And this.
Why are you doing this to me? And by the way,
It's become the new team slogan. It's become the new team slogan. I'm trying to help you guys out.
why? I'm building. First off, I built my own grade
should have
by not
more-
even looking at the matchup, giving 0 down to the team of veterans, the smartest one of the 3 smartest teams. I'll give you the credit. The smartest team in the league.
Oh wow.
With savvy veterans, great shooting. I can't believe I built my own casket, or a potential, my own motivator for the over team.
Yeah, it's very fitting that we get this matchup now. So it
It's
worked
fitting.
out well.
I'll tell you something about this matchup before we even get into it. I think personally, this is the 2 smartest teams in the league. Lakers are a close third. Maybe the Lakers are in there. You go either way. I think each team are going to come with their prospective game plans. I think it's going to be a good match. I think people may look at it and go, "Oh, they got Jack and they got Reinhardt's and they got all these young guys." I really think it's going to be a close game. I think the Weinbergers are going to come in prepared. Kelson's great. Lipner's great. Moshe Kelson could certainly shoot the living lights out of the rock. They know how I play, as we play almost every Sunday, and I know how they play, and I think it's gonna be a really good game.
So, Rabbi, you guys are obviously not going to divulge strategy, especially since your main opponent is on this broadcast. But tell me one thing: how are you guys at least approaching the game going in?
All right. Well, first, so thanks for having me on. Yeah, that clip was awesome, and then I like that it's being set up for this matchup. Approaching the game, I'll say this. I don't know. This will be a thought I have that definitely doesn't divulge any strategy, but it has been my belief for our team that we match up very well with good teams. Obviously, if it's not a great team, although every team in the league is good, as opposed to, I feel like if there's a player on the other team that can just take over, that we don't have a matchup for. So that's when we have problems, even if they're on a worse team. So in my opinion, I have encountered 3 such players in the league thus far. And that would be Mason, who really gave us a lot of problems when we played against him. Although we didn't have Ellie Lipner, and I think it would have changed. Ari Mitnick also, we did not have an answer for. And of course, the GOAT, Zevi Samet, who last year when we played them, I think scored like 50 on us. So that's when we're a little bit, at a loss. When we play great teams, I'll give the example of your team, Oren. You guys are a fantastic team. And obviously you have great players. That's what makes you a great team. But there's no one guy that was just going to take over the game. That's not the way you play. And I think we are also a good team, and we match up all of that. My take on the Hawks, maybe I'm underestimating.
Are you not putting me on that list with
I was
Mason?
gonna say, I don't know. If Brian walked through that door, then I'll say differently. Me,
I got to play
now
mediator
it's
here. I
personal.
got to play mediator.
So no, I'm first of all, I'm just goading Jack into taking 50 shots tonight. That's what we really want to get out of this. So if that's the case, then it's those have been tough for us. If it's more like a Lakers of the East and great, which is what I think, smart team play, good team play, good shooting, got size, all that. We just, I think, match up better against like those teams. And that's why I feel like we have a quiet, I'm definitely not seeing a 16-point underdog tonight, but that's just us. Maybe we're wrong. I think Alex Kelson is ready at the gym warming up. We're going to be ready. Yeah.
When you're 35 or however old Alex is, maybe he's 32 and look that good, he's at the gym. Let's just assume.
Yeah. You know he is. I think we're not sure if he works.
I think I'm actually helping you guys here. I think I'm lighting a fire under you.
He just undermined it. He didn't put.
I might have stepped in.
He didn't put me in the same category as Mason. I don't know.
You prove it today, man. And then I'll
I don't need it.
I'll eat my words.
I did it last week with the Sixers win. Rabbi, I think you yourself will acknowledge that you'll have to have a big game tonight from 3 to match the tremendous shooting of Isaac Gore.
Yeah, I don't want to make this about myself. I thought I've had a very good season shooting, and all I see in all these write-ups is Isaac Gore. I haven't seen my name once, so I guess I got to do more to prove myself.
You have the best percentage among your team. I don't think you guys are that much.
But I'm no Isaac Gore.
I mean, you're better looking.
Heyo. Yo, Oren, is it on your guys' side? Is it glitching the screen?
I'm all right.
I think I'm good.
It's glitching on my end. Do you want to stop sharing for a split second?
Might be your nerves.
All right.
Not my nerves.
Stop sharing. I'll stop sharing.
Oh, there we go.
All right.
You can reshare again. Maybe that's just what happened, just because it's screen recording on my end.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think
rumors true. Are the rumors true about Moshe Weinberger suiting up tonight? Is it risky playing someone in a quarterfinal game after sitting out an entire season?
It's a great question. If anyone could do it, I'd say it's Moshe, who's one of the most veteran players in the league. He's been around the game enough, and we're gonna, I think he is. I don't want to give anything away too much, but there's a chance you'll see him ready to go. We're gonna see game situations might dictate it. If there's a chance for him to maybe take advantage of an ISO matchup with Jack Turell out there, we're gonna.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. We'll see. There's definitely a chance. Yeah.
So, Rabbi, Jack and I were actually having this debate, and I think last night confirmed that I'm right, and I think you would agree, being that you come out of it. The Western Conference is a stronger conference than the Eastern Conference.
First off, it's 3-3, so we can't say anything yet. It's tied right now. 3 West. West was way better than
There's 8 teams left, aren't there? How could it be 3-3?
6 teams. There's a lot.
5 of them are West. 5 of them are West.
8 teams left.
5.
Yeah,
so the West is sorry.
Yeah,
right.
so.
I'm out.
So I'm asking you.
5-3, yeah.
Maybe you guys will like take it as a sign, like, okay, we're playing the Hawks tonight. We have yet to meet them this year, but we played stronger opposition throughout the regular season.
I don't want to. I hear what you're saying, and I hear maybe what I'm being set up for. I think there are a lot of great teams on both sides. I think the Kings are. I think I had the Kings winning it all if they were healthy. So that's unfortunate.
We talked about Raptors.
Yeah, I know. I came in late I saw Isaac making his pitch there. I don't want to insult my good friend Bari Klein. There are good teams in the East. There are definitely good teams. I don't watch them as much. That's the truth. Like, I played every team in the West. I never watched the Bucks play. I really haven't seen the Hawks play. So I'm very curious to see this guy Gore. I'm expecting Steph Curry out there. So
he can shoot it.
I hold very highly of the Heat. Any team with Zevi Samet, I want no part of. But
and you dodged
5-3 West, and I think it could have been a 6-2 if the Kings are healthy. So I'll leave the stats. I'll let the stats speak for themselves. But I don't know.
It's no problem because the champion's coming out of the East. So whether you call it however you want to say it, but at the end of the day, it's about who's the final man standing.
The Hawks. Oh gosh, I don't know if you get.
But don't worry, Rav Weinberger, you'll have a great chance to compete again in the YU tournament.
Rabbi,
I like that.
Come on, let me get you in.
I know you can't divulge. I know you can't divulge too much, but can you at least give me this? Can you at least give me a prediction and
a game plan?
You haven't. No, not a game plan. Do you have an X factor on your team for tonight?
I think the X factor is on defense, and maybe I was disrespecting before. I'll come back here. I think the X factor is if we could contain Jack Turell. I think we're going to be in good shape. I really do. And meaning without having to double off their shooters and all that, because then it spirals out of control. If we can contain Jack on defense, I think we have a really good shot. And transition defense and containing Jack on defense. I think our offense is going to work just fine. I know we were a little bit sputtering last game, but missing Alex is big. He's our creator. And that's what I think. And I think I think that's what's going to happen. It'll be close.
Now,
I expect a close game.
I'm actually going to flip the script now on my colleague. Jack, who's the player on the Spurs you fear the most?
Alex Kelson. I mean, I think I made that pretty clear. I have a tremendous amount of respect for him as a player, and it's not a disrespect to anyone else. I mean, they're full of really good players. That they all play the game the right way. They're tremendously smart. This team has a tremendously high basketball IQ. These are the two smartest teams facing off against each other. But if I had to key in on one player, the thing about the Spurs is they're not a one-player team. So it's not like, again, with Rav Yosef said, I wouldn't say, I'm not going to say is that they don't have a player that could go off. They do, but they're not a team that relies on one player at all. They're a unit. They play as a unit. That's what's shown them the success thus far. So what I'm most afraid of, or what I fear the most, is probably them executing on offense as a unit. Like, you could even say Moshe Kelson is just as we're just in the fact that I know he's going to make the right pass. I know he's going to make his open threes. They don't have one guy where you're like, all right, I know I like psychologically, it's like basketball's a lot of a mind game. They don't have one guy where like psychologically, okay, I know that guy hasn't touched it for 3 times. Let's try to force the defense to him getting it because he's going to take a bad shot. None of that. You're not going to be able to psychologically get them out of their game. You maybe physically can, maybe just because we're younger and more athletic, and that's not a knock. I'm not saying that in a way, but you're not going to psychologically get them. So I think that most things I fear about the Spurs is the high IQ. They have scholars across the board and tremendously high basketball IQ guys across the board. So I just saying that it's just going to be a really fun game.
If I can piggyback on that, I know it sounds cliche, and I think there are a lot of teams, you guys among them, that could probably fit this bill. But we, our strength is that there is not as great as Alex is. It's not like one guy that is automatically going to take over. We really do have. It could be different people every night. And I'll say that my biggest regret of the season, I didn't realize at the beginning when we were picking colors that we were doing teams. Obviously, I would have picked green. Last year, I picked green, but only after. But I think it's actually a little bracha in disguise. We ended up being the Spurs.
Then you would have been in Samet's conference.
And, that's true also. But we ended up being the Spurs. And I think we are very much the Spurs. We're not the flashiest team.
You guys are the Spurs.
I know. So I'm saying, and I think we really represent the Spurs. We're not the flashiest team. You're not going to tune into Dafka watch us, but we play as a team, as you're saying, and we get it done.
If there was one team that I would want to have had been drafted on, not the Hawks, and I'm obviously super happy, and it turned out to be a match made in heaven with me and the Reinhardts, I'd say the Spurs are a team that I would have loved to have been drafted.
This is getting a little mushy before our showdown here.
I kill him with kindness before I kill him with ruthlessness. What?
I'm joking.
I kill him with kindness before I kill him with ruthlessness. That's the mood, But I'm just being honest. I that's a team that I would have loved to have played on.
By the way, it's a comment we get after a lot of our games. If I'm being honest, I would have loved to have been in your team. So
no, I didn't say that about the Nuggets. Preemptive it. I'm being honest. My job here is to be honest and give an honest opinion. The Spurs are a really smart team.
Rabbi, my final
they're going to want to
question,
slow it down. We're going to want to speed it up. That's just the end of the game. If we can get out and running and high scoring, they're going to have problems. If it's really low scoring, this will be a fight. We obviously have a size advantage, but I don't think they're worried about that. I think they want to slow it down. I think they like their chances if it becomes a fist fight, if it becomes a rough and tough game. So it's going to be a really good one. They have heart, man. You can't they're not going to give up. I feel like the Nuggets kind of rolled over once we threw a couple punches, and I don't expect the Spurs to do that at all.
Rabbi, my final question, rumor has it you guys have multiple chats. Which one has been the most active heading into game day?
Oh, wow. Which one has been most active? Probably just me, Dove, and Donnie.
The big three.
The captain and the vice captains.
Sure, yeah. I hope I didn't get myself in trouble there. Trying to bring a divide between us before our game. Yeah, no, I'm joking.
Rabbi,
It's all
thanks
good.
so much for coming on. We really enjoyed having you. We want to give you, as the guest, the last word, of course.
Oh no, I appreciate it. I'm really looking forward. I still have to figure out my schedule today. There's like if this wedding I might have to go to, and then hopefully I'm not late if I am. But if you see me late, just don't worry, I'm coming in to save us. I'll be there.
A little bit of a twist there. I like it. All
Yeah,
right.
we'll see.
You're not going to want to miss this one, folks. Tonight, Spurs and Hawks. If you can't make it to the gym in Teaneck, tune in on Instagram Live.
I think it's 8:15. I think we had to move to 8:15. Not 8.
15.
Okay.
All right. One more time. Thanks so much, Rabbi. We really enjoyed having you.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. All right, Jack. I got a college guidance meeting in like 18 minutes. So let's
talk
give
about
the
Hold on.
No,
let's talk about Thunder
let's talk
Raptors.
no, quickly. Let's talk about the
I got
Thunder
you.
and the Blazers. Okay.
So, let me tell you
More
something.
upsets than I anticipated. I had the Blazers upset to my credit. I did not see the Thunder upset coming at all. But I think these two teams, they can enjoy their upsets because they're both going out in the next. Oh, no, wait, I have the Thunder beating the Raptors. So inconsistent thought there. But I think the Blazers can enjoy that one win and then go down against us. And I think the Raptors are a better team than the Thunder, but the Thunder will be more organized and better prepared due
Let
to.
me give you a little perspective, a little history on the Thunder and what I wanted to talk about. And I really, really wanted to talk about this. So at least if I have 10
And this
minutes.
is where we
to
invoke
touch it.
Brian Shore. This is where we invoke Brian
This is
Shore.
Brian Shore. So the Thunder, after our podcast, everyone that I heard from, they were very discouraged. You know, they had to face the Bucks. They have all these weapons, the Bucks. They didn't feel like they believe it. But to give credit where credit's due, Brian Shore, in the lead up to the Bucks game, I think he changed the whole demographic in a way that I think this league should be approached moving forward. How did he do that? He texted every opponent the Bucks ever played. He texted Jason Mishkin's childhood friends. He got a comprehensive scout of every single player on that Bucks team, on what their tendencies are, what they like to do, how we like to attack them, what are their weaknesses. We could even send it here. And I saw it. And then when the game day came, they executed it perfectly. And I think what that goes to show you, if you're a team that thinks that in this league, you're going to roll out with more talent and beat a team, but not have prepared because, hey, it's pickup. If a team comes in prepared and scouted and ready to go, they're going to beat you. That's just what's going to happen. Big kudos to Brian Shore coming prepared and then executing their game plan perfectly. They attacked Aronoff when he came in so that they couldn't play their bench. They forced Michigan into tough fadeaway shots. They did not let Klein going. They forced him right, trip left. They spaced it out. They had Mason play. I think they found their identity. They're kind of like the Dallas Mavericks, where you have Mason Doncic, Luka Wedgel, whatever you want to call them, going ISO, getting the switch that they want, and then spacing it out with the four shooters in Kalibnik, Brum, Yaron, and Shore. I think when they play the Raptors, this is what I got to say. They're going to want to play that way. The Raptors might want to play man, because if there's one guy who could probably guard Mason Wedgel, it's the guy who's been guarding Ryan Turell all season and R.A. Halpert. If I'm Brian Shore, I'm trying to get a switch on someone who doesn't want to guard Mason. I'm not going to name names, but maybe a point guard, maybe it's someone older, whoever. And attack it in that way. On the flip side, I think the Raptors, they want to make it tough on Mason. They want to take him out of the game. If the Thunder are successful in getting the switches they want, maybe the Raptors switch to a 3-2 so that they cover the 3-point shot. And if Mason does get by his man, they could collapse. He has to kick. I think the Raptors, you think of a team that should be really great offensively because they have Justin Hood. They were the #1 defensive team in the East. They have the fewest points allowed. I think they're really a defensive team. So I think that's something to watch out for. And on the flip, I think the Raptors should be pushing Brum, maybe put Tuckman on Brum, get physical with him. Brum's skinnier, get shooters out of their own mind, get them out of the rhythm, maybe mess with them a little. I think this is a good matchup, but at the end of the day, I think Shore is going to have a comprehensive schedule on the eating tendencies of each of these Raptors, and they're going to come prepared. And that's why I'm just picking the Thunder, even though the Raptors are my guys and I'm rooting for them. I think you look top to bottom, you would say they have more talent, but I just watching the way the Thunder play, and they've kind of figured out their identity offensively. I've yet to see the Raptors figure out their offensive identity. I'm not sure they have.
Yeah,
one yet.
I agree with you. I just think it's going to be a matter of the Thunder really going to be doing their homework, and I just don't think the Raptors are going to be doing all that much prep. I think they're just going to rely on their talent alone to get them to win.
Yeah.
On the other side, the Blazers with a big upset. We talked about the Wizards being susceptible to that 2-3 zone, and Jordan decided to go with it. Jake Rimberg, wow, you had to see him from being in New York last night. Wazowski almost single-handedly won the game for the Wizards, but it just wasn't enough. Barely lost. But I think the Blazers can enjoy that first-round win. You guys call me fools for having them win that first-round game. They can take that win and ride off into the sunset because I don't give them a chance against my Lakers.
They're the poor man's Lakers is what I see it, because they play a lot like you guys, but just to a lesser extent. I owe them an apology. If there's two teams I owe an apology, it's the Spurs and the Blazers. I didn't have a chance to watch them and let my own personal, it's not even a vendetta, but like whatever, get involved in my opinion making. The Blazers were very good and they executed an excellent game plan. I'm shocked to see that did I say Blazers? Shocked to see that the Wizards haven't figured out having this be their third game in a row facing the 2-3, not have an answer for it. Like if you're a person consumed by winning, you just lost 2 games in a row that really gave you a bad matchup in the first round against a 2-3, and you have 3 knockdown shooters. Like I'm shocked to see that they didn't have like a zone busting strategy. The Blazers just went 2-3 the whole game, and the Wizards fell down 10. It took them the second half to figure out how to get Wizzo open shots, and just this is your third game in a row. Burry Klein, we know, is obsessed with winning. And he's a very smart player. I'm shocked that they weren't able to get a resolution on it. The Blazers,
and that second time out, it made no sense after Dietz hit that 3.
Well, I think I don't like to take timeouts during the game, and to a fault. Just mostly I like to save it. And I grew up in the Phil Jackson and Steinmetz era. I've let the players figure out. Steinmetz does the same thing. But Bird used all his timeouts and they saved for 1. And when Dietz hit a 3, Wizzo called it because he thought the clock would still run. And now they're down 1 and they don't have a timeout. So they have to foul, but they don't have the timeout to bring it out. So Justin Hone misses the second one, and you're relying on a Hail Mary. Jordan misses the second. You're relying on a Hail Mary. Great fight by the Blazers. Great fight by the Wizards.
That was my favorite game. That was my favorite game of the playoffs. It was the best for last, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, certainly make an argument. There's a ton that you could have chose. Mine might have been the Thunder, just because I knew the game plan going in, and watching a team execute gets me going. Like I was really jazzed to see them execute and see a team come together as a whole. But that's certainly one of them. I mean, that could have gone either way. There was so much pressure. They were up 3, the Wizards, and Rimberg hit some threes, and Jordan, and they really played well. I do pick the Lakers. What the Blazers have to do is to take you guys out of your comfort zones.
I think they have to go man against us.
You have to go man against you. I don't see Weisberger guard Blumenthal. I would probably try to get physical and try to get in the grill, put Asaf on Johnny Nolman. Like, I know Asaf is known as one of those fight guys, or like tough guys. Maybe put him on Johnny. Jordan versus Isaac. This is the point guard match for the century. I mean, these are the 2 best point guards in the league, so that's going to be a lot of fun to watch. It's going to be a good game. I'm taking the Lakers. I think the Blazers obviously have a chance. If you have Jordan, you have smart players and the shooters that he has, you have a way. That's another team I would have been drafted on. I think they're constructed a lot like our Hawks team is. It's going to be a good game. But I'm taking the Lakers.
So I think we line up for the most part. I think the only game where we differ is Heat Timberwolves.
I think, again, like Yoel Schreier, with not a lot of help, had the game won. And Hammy Alexander, who we agree is at this point better. I mean, he had a better season. He's having a better season. And he has a lot more help. So, you know, I'm taking the T-Wolves. I think they're tough to beat, and I think it's.
I'm just a huge Samet fan. I think
can't believe Rav Weinberger didn't give respect on my name. I had 30 points in round 1. I'm the MVP, baby. What was that?
Show it on the court tonight. It's a good way to end. Anyway, the quarterfinals start tonight. Be there, be square. Check out Jack in action against the Spurs, as well as the Timberwolves Heat. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We'll be back for another edition next week to preview the semifinal matchups.
Yeah.
For now, this is Oren Glickman and Jack Turell signing out.
Yes, sir. Oh, yeah. I'll do it.